We'll go ahead and get started. Everybody in their places, ready to go? Excellent. All right then. At this time, I would like to call to order the meeting for the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District's Board of Directors, Thursday, January 10th, 2013. Our first order of business will be to pledge the flag. Repeat after Mr. Scheidegger. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the Metro Cable announcement is as follows. The open session meeting is videotaped for Cablecast on Metro Cable 14. Replay on Saturday, January 12, 2013 at 1 p.m. and Monday, January 14th, 2013 at 6 p.m. on Channel 14. Webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. The open session meetings are also available for viewing on the district website at www.metrofire.ca.gov. First item of business is the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
There is a motion by Director Gould and a second by Director Jones to approve the consent agenda. Board Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Director Monk.
Aye.
Orzali.
Aye.
Gould.
Aye.
Scheidegger.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Clark absent. Motion passes.
All right, moving on.
We're all getting mutes up here.
Yeah.
I think we have a public opportunity to discuss matters. Did we hit that?
I have not. Do we have any speaker slips?
No, we don't.
Okay. Thank you for keeping me on track. Moving on to action items. Our first action item is a resolution number 2013-01. It is commending James Newcomer. And if it pleases the board, I would accept a motion.
So move. Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Is it necessary to read the commendation at this time?
No, it is not, but you may if you would like to.
You want to read it when he comes up?
I can do that. Indeed. So then, we've got a motion, we've seconded, and we've approved. We'll go ahead with commendation.
Oh, roll call, please.
Roll call.
Roll call. Directors Monk.
Aye.
Orzali.
Aye.
Gould.
Gladly aye.
Scheidegger.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Clark absent. Motion passes.
Thank you. And we'll move on to the commendation. Mr. Newcomer, could we ask you to please come forward? Oh, some of this, don't you? All right. First, we have a resolution commending James D. Newcomer. Whereas the Board of Directors of the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District wish to acknowledge that James D. Newcomer has served as a director of the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District with distinction, and whereas Director Newcomer was appointed to the Board of Directors in January 2012 and has faithfully served the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District with sound judgment, responsibility, professionalism, and integrity, with his term of office expiring on December 6, 2012. And whereas Director Newcomer has served the District Board of Directors with the highest degree of diligence, including representation on the City of Rancho Cordova 2x2 Committee and the Deferred Compensation Committee. And whereas Director Newcomer has shown a deep appreciation for the excellence and distinguished quality of service delivered by the district through its employees. Now therefore be it resolved that the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District and its Board of Directors hereby commend James D. Newcomer for devoting his sincere commitment, promulgating the district goals and objectives, and providing an outstanding record of dedicated service to the fire service and to the citizens which it serves, and wishes to thank him for a job well done. Be it further resolved that this foregoing resolution, number 2013-01, was passed and adopted on January 10th, 2013 by the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District Board of Directors. James, thank you very much. Congratulations. Thank you. And we have a resolution from the California Legislature. Please bear with me. I will read this one for you as well. By the Honorable Darrell Steinberg, President Pro Tem of the California State Senate, and the Honorable Richard Pan, 9th District Assembly District, relative to commending James D. Newcomer. Whereas James D. Newcomer completed his term as a director of the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District on December 7th, 2012, and in recognition of the valuable leadership he provided to that organization during his tenure in office and his exemplary record of civic leadership, he is deserving of a special public commendations. And whereas James D. Newcomer was appointed to the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District Board of Directors to represent Division 4 in January 2012, and whereas during his tenure, James D. Newcomer worked diligently to advance the goals and principles of the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District and became renowned for his superb ability to work with a diverse group of people in order to forge solutions to the challenges that face the organization and the community. And whereas James D. Newcomer served on the Rancho Cordova, City of Rancho Cordova 2x2 Committee and the Deferred Compensation Committee, and whereas intelligent and articulate, aware and involved, James D. Newcomer is a fine example of a public-spirited citizen willing to assume the responsibilities of leadership, and he has demonstrated a deep appreciation for the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District's exemplary record of distinguished quality service. Now therefore be it resolved by President Pro Tem of the California State Senate, Darrell Steinberg, and Assembly Member Richard Pan, that they take a great pleasure in commending James D. Newcomer for the leadership he provided to the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District's Board of Directors during his tenure, and express their sincere best wishes for continued success in years to come. Joint Member Resolution number 39, dated the 28th day of December 2012, signed by Honorable Darrell Steinberg and the Honorable Richard Pan. Congratulations once again. Thank you. According to that, you were one hell of a guy. And the last commendation that we have is a plaque. James D. Newcomer for its outstanding service and dedication to the fire service and the community. Board of Director 2012. Has your badge mounted on the bottom. Right then. You might like to say a word or two.
I would like to thank all the members of the board for the opportunity that I received in 2012 to serve with you. I'd like to thank the staff, the chief, everybody that works for Metro Fire for what they've done, not just in the last year and what they continue to do, but what they've done the entire time I've been affiliated with the agency. So not quite sure about all the big words and those things, but I appreciate it and thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Jim, thank you. All right, then, the next item would be the resolution accepting fiscal year 2012 Assistance to Firefighters Grant, AFG, Wellness and Fitness. Mr. Davis?
Director Larry Davis, the Chief Development Officer. The item in front of you is a request for a resolution authorizing us to accept a award for the Wellness and Fitness Program through the Assistance to Firefighter Grant. We submitted a $462,000 project, and were awarded the funding. The federal share of that will be $370,200, $227, and the district will be responsible for the 20% cash match of $92,569.
So move.
Second?
We've got a motion by Director Gould and a second by Director Scheidegger. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing no questions, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Director Monk,
Aye.
Orzali,
Aye.
Gould,
Aye.
Scheidegger,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Pearson,
Aye.
Kelly,
Aye.
Clark absent, motion passes.
Very well. Action item number 3 is a resolution accepting fiscal year 2012 staffing for adequate fire and emergency response, the SAFER grant. Mr. Davis.
Thank you. The item in front of you is a resolution authorizing the district to accept funding for an award from the Assistance to Firefighter Grant Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response Program. We received a $5,632,152 award to hire 24 additional firefighters. The federal funding is it's 100%. There is no match on this grant.
Second.
We have a motion by Director Scheidegger and a second by Director Gould. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Question?
I'm sorry,
Direct-
questions?
I just want to make one comment, please.
Please do.
Mr. President, is that I would like to point out for clarification that this is over a 2-year period. So that is a great sustained amount of time. There were some perhaps discrepancies in prior publications, but this represents a 2-year commitment, which is a terrific effort on your part and your staff, Mr. Davis. Thank you.
Just one more question, just for clarification. The 24 positions, are those going to be, was the grant written to restaff units that we've previously closed, or to offset some of the costs?
I probably should weigh in on that. We applied for the grant was for 2 4-person engine companies. That was the parameters. We have not determined where those will go. Operations will work with a group that they worked with in the past of labor and management, and the City Gate studies to take a look at where we need to reopen and how we'll reallocate that, and we'll be coming back with a plan to present to the Board of Directors on how we're going to implement that.
No, I just wanted to, that's awesome. We get to reopen some stations. Thank you.
Please.
Larry, as you know, in the questions and answers that you've been providing me about this is less a question than it is an awareness that I'd like to bring to the board. In these economic times, the kind of work that Mr. Davis has been doing for us has been absolutely invaluable. And going back to the time when we had a board retreat talking about key issues in the district, one of the key issues that consistently came up was wear and tear on the staff. I am concerned that we pay attention to that issue because of the amount of effort that it takes to do what Mr. Davis does. And I would encourage us, your office, the chief's office, the board, to look at what might we do to expand and broaden so that we can do this work on a broader basis more efficiently. Because having done a lot of grants, I know how much work that is. And once you've got the grant, that is not the end of it. You've got ongoing maintenance, maintaining those records to be sure that you maintain your qualifications for subsequent funding. And it's just something that I think we ought to be aware of, and I have some serious discussion about. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Orzali. Did you want to make a comment?
Yeah, I was just going to do a follow-up to that. Director Orzali, and I know I talked with President Kelly about this. The wear and tear in that division is major. If you notice that in our audit that you'll see this evening, we have a clean opinion on our grants, the way we operate our grants. It takes an enormous amount of work, and that is one of the divisions and one of the areas that we are short-staffed. And so we will be coming at mid-year with a plan on how we shore up Mr. Davis's ability to broaden that spectrum. If you total up the amount of grants that we've gotten over the last 2.5 years, it's well in excess of, I believe, 23 or 24 million dollars that has come into the district. And we cannot afford to have a mistake in the application of those grants or the implementation and the accounting, because if we do, it could put a black check mark on us that we will never overcome when you try to apply for other grants. So at mid-year, to the directors, we will be coming back with you with a plan on how we can address that, because that is a part of the area that is stressing to the point of breaking, and we're having great success. But Mr. Davis shouldn't be working 7 days a week, 16, 18-hour days. So we are going to come to the board and address that issue.
All right.
Thank you very much. And sort of kind of using the opportunity with the single audit being done this week, I received the single audit, and so we put together a little side-by-side on this to just kind of show where we were and where we are. But back in 2006, before there was kind of a unit handling this, you can see that we had some significant issues in our audits on grant activities. We only had $2.6 million, but we had a qualified opinion with plenty of issues. In 2012, we were up to $10 million, and we now have an unqualified opinion and no issues. And going forward, we have $18 million in open grants right now, and about, Chief said, 4 to 5 million of grants that are completely closed and completed and off our books, with the exception of they have to be retained for audit for a period of 4 years. But we are aggressively moving this program forward, and staff has done a great job. I just really want to commend Marie and Bernal and Aaron Castleberry for their work. This is their work. The reporting is all done. The I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and it also impacts all the districts. When we get a large grant like the defibrillators, I mean that's a huge burden that goes on to procurement. The audits put a burden on finance, and so some recognition of that follow-on burden for the grants would greatly appreciated. So, thank you.
We've got a motion on the floor. We were in the question period. Seeing no further questions, Chief, if I could ask you, when do you think you may return to the board with a plan of where you're going to locate the engines?
I would estimate that would come out probably in the next, I don't want my staff to kill me.
90 days?
Probably by tomorrow morning. No, I'm kidding. I would say 60 to 90 days, because those people won't be on, ready to go out online until June or July, I believe. So we're gonna take some time, because they're pretty much over crunched at the moment. Gotcha. So I'd say in the next 60 to 90 days we would come back with a plan.
Thank you.
Yeah. Comment, Chief. This is just kind of out of right field. We've gone through a number of the grants now in hiring the 24 firefighters for each one. Have we got any kind of a projection or crystal ball guess of future as to how many people are retiring annually and what we need to replenish every year?
Well, I can tell you that we've been very proactive in this area, and that we are, in this year, we just graduated an academy of, I believe, around 25 or 26 recruits. We will be hiring another 2 academies, so another 25 to 30 in each for the remainder of this, for this calendar year that we're in. We are tracking what the eligibility is for retirements. I believe that this next year has a potential to be a pretty heavy retirement coming up in 2014, 13, 14. So yeah, we do track that. We estimate, we're pretty accurate on what the retirement numbers are going to be when we do the budget. And so we're on top of that. Again, it's our best guess, but Now with PERS and the employees paying 50% of the normal cost of retirement, you can get pretty certain on dates on when people are going to go. There is the occasional surprise or two, but we're on top of it.
Yeah, just noting that this latest grant was a 2-year, does that have an effect if we're having to hire 24 a year, and all of a sudden we've got a 2-year grant, are we blocked from applying for another one if it comes up?
Something to think about.
Was that a question on this?
More-
Well, we did have we had the 10 safer, and then we sat out a year, and then we came back in 12, and we were successful again. So,
Okay.
so having a safer grant, it's still an open grant. So the 10 safer is still open, and we were successful in getting a 12 grant. So I think we can continue to apply for safer grants.
And we will. The grant machine is off and running, and so you can be assured that's part of the reason we're coming back at mid-year, because there are a variety of grants that are out there, and we need to make sure that we're maximizing our application into those. You'll be seeing another one coming up for fire prevention. Chief Iverson talked about it, and that one's several $100,000 to $1 million grant in the first year. So, we're not resting on our laurels. In fact, one quick comment. We are actually, I don't know if you call it pre-funding, but we're pre-writing grants for stuff so that we are in a position that when leftover money that other agencies can't spend, and there's timelines that it has to be spent, we will have the grant file where we can slap it down and go, we have this grant ready for an application, and we can spend the money within the time frames that the other agencies couldn't do, and Larry's been working very hard on that. So we're really covering the top, the bottom, and all the sides.
Mr. Chair, thank you. Larry, on behalf of the citizens of this district, I want to thank you. I mean, it's awesome to see us taking money back out of the feds. Good for you. It's wonderful to see.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Roll call. Director Monk.
Aye.
Orzali.
Aye.
Gould.
Aye.
Scheidegger.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Clark absent. Motion passes.
At this time, is it proper to go in and take care of our closed session issues? Closed session, gentlemen. Ladies, gentlemen.
Okay.
Thank you. You're in trouble?
Half hour early?
Oh, so you heard
No,
a lot of the
No, we stayed out in the foyer.
Did you work on Amber?
I think they got a trimmed down version. It was a full audit.
Yeah, but
No. There were firefighter things.
like ledger corrections.
I don't know. I don't.
Well, they've worked their butts off. Well, I think a lot of it has to do with McFarland. Huh?
Yeah.
Someone
and
that actually
now-
knows what the hell they're
Now
doing.
they have a full. At this time, if we could ask the board attorney to report out on closed session.
Thank you, President Kelly. The Board of Directors met in closed session pursuant to California Government Code Section 54956.9 to consider matters of workers' compensation settlement authority. The first matter considered was the workers' compensation matter of Harry Friedland, and the board voted 7-0 with Director Clark absent to give settlement authority to the district's third-party administrator to settle that claim. The board next considered the workers' compensation matter of Barry Flores, and by a vote of 7-0 with Director Clark absent, voted to give authority to the district's third-party administrator to settle that matter. The board next met with respect to the workers' compensation matter of Mark Gossett and voted by 7-0 with Director Clark absent to give settlement authority to the district's third-party administrator to settle that matter. The board next met with respect to the workers' compensation matter of Steve Cantelmi, and by a vote of 7-0 with Director Clark absent, gave authority to the district's third-party administrator to settle that matter. The board next met with respect to the workers' compensation matter of Robert Bruce, and by a vote of 7-0 with Director Clark absent, gave authority to the district's third-party administrator to settle that matter. And last, the board met with respect to the workers' compensation matter of Barbara Law, and by a vote of 7-0 with Director Clark absent, gave authority to the district's third-party administrator to settle that matter.
All right, then. Moving on to our item number 4, or excuse me, item number 1 under presentation items. It would be our fiscal year audit with Ms. McFarland.
Good evening, Directors. Rhonda McFarland, Chief Financial Officer. We have here tonight Ingrid Schiplein, who's our auditor with Richardson and Company, and her firm performed the audit of our fiscal year financial statements for the year ended June 30th, 2012. She has a brief report for you, and I may make a couple more comments at the end, and I'm going to turn it over to Ingrid.
Good evening. I met earlier this evening with the Finance Committee, so I'm going to hit real high level, and then if you have questions, I can entertain those. We issued 6 reports as a result of our audit. Those are in your package. We also provided a 1-page summary, which I believe was in the packets there when you arrived today, that hits the highlights of those reports. I showed this timeline earlier to the Finance Committee just to give you a little bit of background for those that are new and maybe refresher for those that have been on the board for some time. The last 7 years of audits have really been completed in this last 2.5 years, with starting with the fiscal year 09 or 06 to 09 audits, 4 audits completed in August 2010, all the way up to the current audit of fiscal year ended 2012, issued in December of 2012. So you can see, I mean, 7 fiscal year audits completed in a 2.5-year time frame. It's a major accomplishment for the district, and the district's worked hard to get to this point, to get the audits up to date. Audit results, we issued a clean opinion on the financial statements. That's the best you can have, indicating that the financial statements are fairly presented in accordance with all the required accounting principles. One other significant accomplishment this year is that the district developed its own in-house system. As you may recall, we had a finding in the past about utilizing the county system that just wasn't facilitating the district's accounting needs. And so the district did set up its own internal accounting system this year as of June 30, 2012. The district also, for the first time, prepared its closing entries. In the past, the district has utilized our services for that, but due to the hiring of a controller, they were able to do those entries in-house. So you can see there's been exceptional progress that's been made addressing the more significant of the prior year findings, and we'll look at some of those shortly. I think the timeline for completing those realistically couldn't be completed until fiscal year 2012, because as we saw from the previous timeline, some of those previous audits really hadn't been completed until after fiscal year 11 had been started. So realistically, this was the first opportunity that the district had to address all those findings and to get the proper procedures in place. Significant audit adjustments in past audits for 09 to 11. As I mentioned, the district has had us to do those entries. But this year, the district has completed those entries prior to the start of the audit. And as a result, we only had 6 audit adjustments this year, which is a significant accomplishment considering that this is the first chance that the district has had to have its own internal accounting system. The internal control letter, there were 7 items from our prior year report that were removed, and one of the letters in your packet lists those items that were removed because they were adequately addressed during fiscal year 12. There were just 2 comments remaining from those previous audit reports. One of them had to do with refining the payroll controls, and the other one having to do with monitoring ambulance billings. Both of these are in progress. They were just not completely resolved by the end of fiscal year 2012. Just one new finding related to the count procedures. Although there have been improvements in the counting inventory count procedures, there were still some discrepancies between the counts versus the final listing that need resolution. Federal grant compliance. Our audit includes compliance with the federal laws and regulations regarding the federal expenditures. I'm pleased to report that we had no compliance findings as a result of our audit. There was one compliance finding noted in the 2011 audit, and that was adequately resolved in fiscal year 2012. New pronouncements. I'll just hit the highlights on this. I discussed it with the Finance Committee. There is a new pronouncement that will be effective with the financial statements for June 30, 2015, that will require actually recording the liability for the unfunded pension obligations, which is currently not required to be accrued. Just to give you an idea of the magnitude, the unfunded amount as of June 30, 2011 for the safety plan only is $173 million. You have issued $69 million of bonds to cover the portion of that unfunded portion, but the additional 100 or so million would at some point in time need to be reflected on your books. So this is just something looking forward that the district needs to evaluate the impacts and prepare for that change. As I indicated, it will be required in June 30, 2015. With that, I'd like to open it up to any questions, but I do want to thank Rhonda and her staff. I think that they definitely made the audit process much smoother, and I know they worked hard to get to where they are and to resolve the findings that we've had in past audits.
Thank you very much. Any questions, board members?
I want to thank the staff for just the report that was just given. Really sings, I think, well to the group, because I think in a very short amount of time we've really cleaned up some of the challenges that we were facing, and just knowing exactly how things were being run in our finance, and clearly those have been taken care of with a clean opinion. I just find it interesting, and I think it's just a matter of verbiage, but when we say there's no compliance findings, I don't think that's really what we mean, right? We're fully compliant, right? Yes. And it's just the way you auditors talk in double negatives, right? So I think it's important that when the public sees that, when it says nobody's compliant, that's really not true. They're completely compliant, as what our Larry Davis said, that there was no findings means they couldn't find dirt on our guys, right? Isn't that how it's supposed to actually to the commoner? Okay. But thank you very much. What an awesome thing to have in front of us as a clean audit. That's really, really good job.
I just wanted to add that, we really are striving for best practices in our finance division, and we've made such progress, and we would not have been able to do that without the support of this board and the support of Chief Hinkie. He definitely sets a very strong tone at the top that I very, very much appreciate. And again, I want to thank my staff that are here that worked on the audit.
Chief?
President Kelly, board, first off, that timeline I think kind of says it all about how much has been accomplished. And this is the earliest that we've had an audit completed. And the finance staff, although they are a wild bunch over there.
Yeah.
He said, don't let them fool you. I walk by there all the time. There's a lot of laughing going on. And it wasn't that way necessarily so much about 1.5 years to 2 years ago. But as a fire chief, I would like to say that they have done just an absolutely outstanding and tremendous job. They had an incredible lift to make in that finance division, which I will, admit today almost seemed impossible 2.5 years ago that we were going to get to this point today. So at the end of the day, kudos to Rhonda, to her staff. They've just done a great job, and the fact that they're all here tonight, you know, to see it presented shows the pride that they have in the work that they do. And I just would like to give them a round of applause for the hard work and everything that they've done to bring us to this.
And I know that I speak for the board. Nice of you to all come out and watch your work be presented. And Ms. McFarland, we appreciate the hard work you do and the fine staff that you've assembled under your tutelage. Anybody, questions, anybody? All right, moving on to item number 2, the online agenda program. And this has got me as a presenter, and I wanted to take the temperature of the other directors and find out just how they are embracing the online agenda presentations program.
Long bear hug.
Anybody have any issues? At this time, staff has not been able to quantify the direct savings to the district as a result of going paperless, so to speak, and I look forward to seeing that quantified at some point in time, but we can only imagine what we're saving both on wear and tear on machines, consumables on machines, paper, and the risk that logistics technicians took driving out to our individual homes to drop off board packet.
Just in response to President Kelly, because I'm one of those people that really believes in transparency, and when I don't do something I was supposed to, I'm going to take responsibility for it. He had asked for us to have something to present to you folks tonight, and it solely rests with me. I didn't get it done, and so no excuse. We will get something to you in the next couple meetings that shows what we estimate the cost savings to be, and certainly it's helped our staff out a ton. And if you guys have any input coming into the office on it or whatever, you want to ask questions, please feel free to get a hold of us.
You know, one thing I'd like to see is the ability in the PDF files to make notes. I know that in the paper format, as I'm reading and preparing for the board meetings, the ability to make notes right on a PDF document is critical so that I can refresh my memory a week later or something about a question or concern. So as they get sent to the board members, if it's a PDF file that can be highlighted, that will be very helpful for me.
Director Orzali.
Yes, there was a discussion. I had a discussion with the IT section about that very issue. They have a workaround that they tell me is going to be pushed out and be able to allow us to do that. So that's a great step because it is absolutely critical that we be able to do that.
Yeah.
The other thing I'd like to have a discussion about is having the availability of a tutorial session, perhaps before the board meeting, so someone could be here if a director has questions, to spend maybe it's 20 minutes or a half hour before a meeting so that you could come in and say, how's this work, how's that work, saving a director the necessity of coming to the district office.
Absolutely, we'll make that available and make sure that we have our IT people and the proper people here for the next couple meetings. We'll do it for, I think, a series of 2 or 3 meetings.
Right.
Make them available so that if you guys have questions, they can work you through it. I'm the wrong person, however, to ask to help you do that. I can read my email. That's about the extent.
All right. Any other questions in the online agenda program? Seeing none, we'll move on to the President's report.
President Kelly.
I'm sorry. Please.
That's okay. I do have a question. All the board members present, do you want to continue getting any paper copies, or shall we discontinue it for the next meeting on the agendas?
I vote discontinue.
A vote's not necessary, but I would need to know what. It's just giving staff direction, which I would appreciate, please.
I believe that the general consensus is that you can do away with the paper agendas. I believe that if anybody needs one, maybe you might have one or two available in your office, that if somebody needed one, they could come to you and get one, or request that you brought it to the meeting, something like that, maybe.
One
Thank you.
final thing. I think it's important, too, that the IT folks have a way to remotely log into our tablets so that they can, make any corrections or do IT work remotely, which I know is available. So if there's an app or a cloud or a Skyburst or something they need to download, I'd like to have that, because I know that oftentimes there may be an issue with these tablets, and if we've got to run it off or have somebody come out and pick it up and take it to IT and back and forth versus just remotely logging into my iPad would be helpful.
I think that's a great idea. I have a computer, a company for my home one, and that really is totally effective, very, very effective.
Okay, so everybody took notes of that. Anything else? How is it working for you, Charlotte?
I have absolutely no problem with it. In fact, I love it. All of those things are, contained in Dropbox, and you can make notes, and you can strike out, you can underline, you can highlight. I specifically put that ability into there. We do have some glitches that do come up.
Okay, all right. Perfect, then. Again, we'll move the agenda under President's Report. I have nothing to report at this time, although we will, and maybe this is the appropriate time to ask if Directors Orzali and Gould are able to look at their schedules, and we'll put together an executive committee meeting following the meeting. We'll have some conversation on it. I don't have anything else to report. Chief's report.
President Kelly, Board of Directors, first off, one of the main issues staff is starting to work on is Command Staff Strategic Planning Workshop for March and April, where we will have the Command Staff get together. And then we are getting ready to put together the Board of Directors Strategic Planning Workshop for in May. If you remember, we tried to do it in May so that it was ahead of the budget, so that policy decisions that needed to be decided on and direction from the Board of Directors had input into that and direction to us, staff. Also, at that retreat, if it is still the desire, and I think it was of some, I would probably earmark a half hour to an hour for a presentation on accreditation. I hadn't forgotten about that. It's been a busy year, so we would have some outside people come in and give a presentation on accreditation. I know that we're doing accreditation in our fire prevention division, which is important because it's a business practices issue for the business community. The jury would still be out in regards to an overall accreditation, but I think it was requested and it needs to be a full and balanced presentation so the board can make up an educated decision on what you folks would like to do. Meetings, I attended the California Regional Fire Academy Class 19 graduation. Actually, I didn't attend that. The representatives did. I did, however, attend our own graduation on December 2nd. I believe that's what it is. And on the 20th County Fire Chiefs meeting, a real important issue, Director Orzali was there with us, so we went to Rancho Murrieta, and on 12/20 received a check from Rancho Murrieta for over $13,000 to raise funds for a Lucas device, which will be placed on the ambulance out there. And Director Orzali and Larry Davis had a great conversation with Rancho Murrieta about the potential of doing some more fundraising, perhaps using the golf course out there to hold a tournament to raise funds. And when Rusty Dupre gets back from his vacation, I will be asking him to work with Director Orzali and kind of pick it up with Brenda Briggs to help move some of that stuff forward. And Director Orzali has really been leading the charge on that. So we really want to thank Rancho Murrieta, and the manager out there, and the whole team of people that contributed to that life-saving device. Was immensely appreciated, and it was just a great deal. And also to Captain Sloan and the crews that Sloan's really pushed this whole issue forward in the fundraising out there. They need to get credit, and so it really came from members of our department that said, hey, we see the need, we'd like to do the fundraising, and they've been out there talking to these different groups. On the 2nd of January, the SRPP, a single role paramedic EMT academy started. Those people, I believe, were down to about 47 or 48 personnel that are in that academy. So we will be hiring another group. There'll be quite a bit of testing going on. The HR division is also going to be an impacted division this year with firefighter testing and a bunch of promotional testing and single role paramedic testing. Yesterday, I attended the confirmation hearing for Secretary Mark Ghilarducci at the Capitol for CalEMA, and the Senate Rules Committee passed him on as confirming him, and now it will go to the full Senate. Also yesterday in the evening and then all day today, Sac Metro hosted the California Metro Fire Chiefs Association meeting. This is the first time that the Metro Fire Chiefs, which is the 15 largest fire departments in the state of California, and those 15 fire departments cover over 80% of the population of California, just those 15 departments. We are a member of that Metro organization, as well as the National Metro Chiefs. We hosted that meeting. We had 13 of 15 of the fire chiefs attend. We had reached out to Secretary Ghilarducci, to Lou Paulson, president of CPF, for a dinner last night that we had, and into our meetings today to be briefed. And so it went very well. On a personal note, I was nominated and elected as the chairman of the Metro Chiefs, representing the entire 15 agencies for the state of California today. And on a personal note, I was touched and honored that they would put that trust in me to do that. I think it's more important, it's great for our organization because it really puts us back where I think we need to be in the pinnacle of moving forward. And also at the same time, they nominated to move my name forward for the governor's appointment to the State Board of Fire Services. So we'll wait to see how that plays out. Clearly, Chief Clough also attended and did a presentation on GEMT, and the Metro Chiefs have requested a variety of the policies, from treat no transport to our self-inspection issues, our indirect and direct cost. All the stuff that we've been doing will be sent to all 14 of those other agencies. The only two agencies that were unable to make it was the fire chief from the city of Sacramento and the fire chief from San Francisco. So we'll catch them up on down the road. But at the end of the day, it was well attended. And yeah, it's the first time that the Metro Chiefs have gotten back together in 6 years. The association's been around since 1975. Former Fire Chief Rick Martinez was very involved. Fire Chief Costamagna from the city of Sacramento. Those were the big players back in the day, in LA City, Bamatre, and P. Michael Freeman from LA County. They all put it together. So Metro was heavily involved in the very beginning, or in that early time period, and we're back involved again. And this is going to be an organization that is going to move forward with a pretty aggressive stance as far as representing the fire service statewide. So I'm looking forward to that. The League of Cities conference call was handled by Chief Clough. He updated him on the GEMT AB 678 issues for me today because I couldn't get there. Upcoming meetings and events. On the 23rd of this month, we have the annual awards luncheon at the Rancho Cordova City Hall right here from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is the awards for our employees And I would really encourage the directors, if you can make it. I know that it's during the week and you guys have a lot of things, but if you can make it, and you guys have done that in the past, I know the employees that get those awards, it means a lot to them that you're there. So again, that's January 23rd, the annual awards luncheon here at Rancho City Hall, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Also, during the month of January, we will be having mid-year budget meetings with labor and sitting down and talking about where we go for mid-year so that we can come back and bring a mid-year budget presentation to the board. Also, we have ongoing throughout the month of January off-the-record discussions going with 522 in regards to the pre-funding of retiree medical and handling that other big issue. And we have moved it to a smaller group of people. I'm not even participating. It's staff and 522's representatives. And I got to tell you, you see a lot of criticism of public employee unions, of which I personally will be the first one to say that I think in a lot of cases, it's misdirected. And certainly in the case of Local 522, it should not be directed at them. They have been absolutely phenomenal and being part of the solution and really setting the trend for Metro Fire being in the lead on pension reform, being in the lead on these big issues. And so at the end of the day, they've been great to work with. They're working with us over the next month or two. I feel pretty optimistic that we're actually going to get somewhere and get some resolution and stability moving forward for the next several years. So I look forward to that as well. Save the following dates. January 26th is the Guns and Hoses football game at Cal State University Sacramento Stadium, 1 p.m. kickoff time. We massacred those cops last year. If you like football, you got to go to this. It's just something to see. It's a lot of fun, and certainly I'm going to be there this year again. It's just great. And then that evening is the Pioneer Mutual and Ladder 22nd Annual Crab Feed at St. Mary's Church Hall at 7 p.m. Fill the Boot for Burns, February 15th to the 18th. The big Fill the Boot. We have to win the trophy again. So I will be out there twisting arms with staff so that we can pre-stock our boot, and there's no way the other chiefs can catch up. Pre-planning is always good. New hires, none to report. Reinstatements, none to report. Reassignments, training captain reassignment opportunity has been distributed to personnel. We're very fortunate on January 14th, we'll have Captain Barbara Law. Barbie Law will be coming back into EMS. She's very, very highly thought of in the EMS issue, and she'll become reassigned as an EMS day staff captain, and a real important time when we're really kicking off some major programs in the EMS division, and we're very, very fortunate to have her coming back. Retirees, well, I'm glad Mo Johnson isn't here because he can't correct me. So here we go. Retirees. December 22nd, Dale Stewart retired, firefighter, 23 years of service. December 28th, Vincent Elko, engineer, 10 years of service. December 31st, Kyle Johnson, battalion chief, 28 years of service. December 31st, Monty Ernst, battalion chief, 29 years of service. December 31st, I don't know what that date was, so magical, wasn't it? Kevin Almeida, captain, 25 years of service. December 31st, Brian Hotman, captain, 24 years of service. December 31st, Raymond Stradronsky, captain, 34 years of service. December 31st, Matt Jewett, engineer, 10 years of service. December 31st, Chuck Ingram, engineer, 29 years of service. December 31st, John Costello, engineer, 27 years of service. December 31st, Dan Alger, engineer, 27 years of service. December 31st, Tim Gosen, firefighter, 21 years of service. December 31st, Davis Kasasha, I'm going to say it wrong. Kasasha, firefighter, 18 years of service. December 31st, Sean Dean, firefighter, 22 years of service. December 31st, Paul Fisher, firefighter, 24 years of service. December 31st, Mark Dess, firefighter, 23 years of service. December 31st, Matthew Ost, firefighter, 20 years of service. And January 6th, James Van Brunt, captain, 28 years of service. A lot of experience going out the door. from Metro Fire. Each and every one of those men and women did a phenomenal job over their careers for this district. And as a fire chief, I just really want to wish them a great retirement. And as they move into their great years, I hope they have a long and fruitful retirement and healthy. Because of that, then promotions. January 1st, Anthony Peck, Battalion Chief. January 1st, Larry Savage, Battalion Chief. January 1st, Eric Kellenberger, Captain. January 1st, Sean Daly, Captain. January 1st, Stephen Salvestron, Captain. And January 1st, Christopher Vestal, Captain. So congratulations to all of those employees, and we wish them the best of success. The 2013 Fire Captain and Fire Engineer promotional examinations have already been distributed to personnel. Both of those tests will be going off. Recruitment, I have none to report, although the HR division would probably differ with me. We will be retesting again for single role paramedic and EMT, and I believe we're going to be given another firefighter paramedic test, I would imagine, sometime this year. So we're going to be extremely busy there. Employee of the Year 2012, on behalf of the Employee of the Year Selection Committee, I would like to report to you those individuals selected for Employee of the Year 2012, line, reserve, and support staff. For Suppression Division, Captain Kevin Snyder, who's also our chaplain. Support recipient, Secretary Julie Cole, who works for Deputy Chief Wells. Great person in HR. Reserve firefighter, reserve recipient, Robert Driver. We are going to enhance the reserve program because we just rotate, it seems like, with the 6 we have. So we are trying to get fresh people in there. I think they've been on me about that. We have not forgotten, but as you can see, the recruitment process has been pretty intense. So I want the reserves out there to know that we haven't forgotten them, and we're trying to get to that point to get an influx of people in there. And the following personnel received nominations for Employee of the Year and will receive peer recognitions awards. Captain Adam House, Captain Tom Neville, Captain Mike Sloan, Firefighter Kyle Thomas, Office Technician Matt Davies, Staffing Specialist Charlene Cockrum. So congratulations to all of those people. In closing, would like to say I am excited about the new year. This is going to be a huge transition year with some really big programs that we kicked off coming to fruition. And we are very excited and looking forward to those processes and programs kicking off. So thank you very much, and that concludes my report. I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Well, I think you answered one of your questions, Director Monk, about retirees. Any other questions of the Chief? All right then. Chief, thank you for the thorough report. And if we could have a operations report from
President Kelly and members of the board, Christopher Holbrook, Operations Chief for Metro Fire. As the Chief stated, wrapping up the year, it was quite a year for the operations group. For the first time ever, we reached a plateau of running over 80,000 calls in Sacramento County. Absolutely unprecedented. With that, the trend has not slowed down in any way, shape, or form. Today, we are busier in EMS than we have ever been in the history of Metro Fire. That's great news considering the fact that cold and flu season is right around the corner. So we will continue to work with our partner AMR to handle the load. Since our last meeting, there's been over 5,000 dispatches in EMS, and I'm happy to report that we've, both Metro Fire and our partner AMR have transported an average of 73.5% of that time. That is also a record. Since the last time we met 28 days ago, we've had 27 working structure fires, and I am very happy to report that, as I reported to you last November, the arsonist that was apprehended in Carmichael last fall was sentenced to 4 years in state prison. So absolute hats off to our investigators who made that happen, and even more to the point, to the citizens that enabled them to make that happen. Finally, for the report tonight, the leadership initiative, which I reported to you, was initiated in December, met again today and finalized both their problem statement and their purpose moving forward. Very excited about this program. We have a crack team of individuals. I am absolutely honored that Director Scheidegger has agreed to sit with that committee and move forward so that you have an idea, and we will give you a comprehensive report in the future. They are in place to provide a consistent culture based upon a commitment to the district's core values and a unified vision to improve performance, enhance partnerships, and exceed community expectations. They absolutely charge themselves to do that with three primary methodologies. That is to lead and influence at all levels of the district, to instill pride and ownership within the district, and to increase accountability within the district. Again, something that I absolutely look forward to. I look forward to working together not only with this team, but with the board and reporting on their progress as we move forward. So with that, I conclude and I'm available for any questions.
Questions of Chief Holbrook? Yes, Director Pearson.
On the structure fires, you said 27, was that correct?
20, I thought it was 20, yes, 27 working fires.
Is there a way, and I don't know how you track your dollars, but let's say the house is valued at $300,000 and they put the loss at $15,000, you know, little stovetop fire or something like that. Is there a way that you could say there was X amount of damage, but X amount of property saved during that time? Because I think it's important to point that out, that when we say 27 structure fires, that's a big number, first off. Second off, that means our guys and gals were out there working pretty hard, and it'd be nice to be able to show the citizens what their tax dollars are going for and what is being saved. I mean, it does make a difference when we talk about response times and things like this on property loss and life lost. And we always highlight when there's a life lost, because, I mean, that's a tragic event, but it's also just as important to point out what we saved sometimes as far as the dollar amount. Sometimes people see that dollar amount, and I bet you with 27 fires, that dollar amount would be pretty big.
I completely appreciate the fact that you recognize that. And if you notice watching the nightly news, and I will tell you that Metro Fire far and exceeds any other agency within the region, let alone the county, relative to news coverage. Every single press release that we write addresses not only the loss, but also the save. This was instilled a short time ago and was an absolute milestone moving forward to do exactly what you're speaking of. The citizens of this community need to recognize the fact that our men and women put themselves at risk every day to save way more than we ever lose. So,
we don't save foundations.
No, sir.
No, I think that's important to point out.
And I appreciate that.
Well, you haven't lost one yet.
No, they're hard to lose.
So, thank you.
Thank you, Chief Holbrook. And that worked out to 219 calls per day, the 80,000 divided by the year. All right, General Counsel, do you have a report for us?
No report tonight.
No? All right, then, Local 522, Mr. Bailey?
Hi, Bailey, Local 522. I have just two items that I want to recognize: Chuck Ingram and Jeff Hickman. They previously served as Local 522 executive board members for the last 10 years for their time and commitment, not only to the local, but to Metro Fire. And then also I'd like to let you know that we have two new executive board members as of January of 2013. That is John Barsdale and also Captain Mike McGoldrick. And I'll be contacting each of you to set up some appointments to make a formal recognition of who they are and introductions. So thank you.
No questions? No. All right. Moving on to committee and delegate reports. The executive committee, we will finalize a date for a meeting that works for the two of you gentlemen after the meeting. Next item would be, and at that time, we will finalize committee appointments, and I've seen emails and had conversations with a number of you I imagine things will stay somewhat the same. All right. And then, being no further business for the executive committee, item 2, Communication Center, JPA. Chief Cockrum? All right. California Fire Rescue Training, JPA. JPA has not met since I last reported out. They did try to put a meeting together for this Friday, but they ran short on time for negotiating a lease, and looks like that meeting will take place on sometime the week after next. And then again, we will meet, we are scheduled to meet on February 27th. Finance Committee, Mr. Monk?
We had a Finance Committee meeting this evening where we were presented with the updates on the annual audit, and it looks good. Next meeting is January, well, this is the 10th, so
2 weeks from tonight.
24th at 5 p.m.
A month from now, excuse me.
Yeah.
And then Policy Committee, Director Orzali.
Has no scheduled meetings. We're doing that on an ad hoc basis as policies come up from staff to be reviewed.
All right, then. Starting with board member questions and comments. Director Monk, please.
I want to congratulate all the retirees that made it to that golden retirement day, that they can go off and their service here is nothing but an excellent memory. I want to thank them for all their hard work and dedication to this district. A lot of them on the list, you could see. Congratulate all those people being promoted to backfill. And I want to congratulate Chief on his selection. I guess it's a congratulations, condolences, because it's going to impact your time availability for your appointment as the leader of the Metro Group, and consideration for the Board of Fire Services. That's a very important role, and you'll represent the district and the fire service well. Congratulations on those, and congratulations on this board for everybody sticking in and filling in their roles and their different committees, and appreciate all your support and cooperation through the years.
Thank you. Director Pearson.
First off, congratulations to the retirees. That's good news. And then I had a couple of points. I don't know, maybe I could have brought this up earlier, but one of the things I noticed with our audit, which was nice to see and see the numbers, but one of the things that concerned me was when they show the total budget and it shows our unfunded liabilities in there, and it shows a big hole. I think it's important for us to educate the public on what that unfunded liability really means when we're talking about our pensions. You know, we throw that number out there, pension obligation fund and these other sort of things, and it makes it look like we're not looking into that. Chief talked about, talking with the labor group, that is big on the district's mind, and I think it'd be important to show and understand exactly what that number represents, as far as, I don't know, it almost sounds like it's due like right now if we had to have it. And I think it's kind of important to show how that's funded and how that money has come in and how it's in our budget. It's not something that we're just saying, oh, it's unfunded liability. It makes it sound like we have no idea where that money's coming from, in the near future. And I don't think that that's true. We have that on our radar. It is being addressed, and I think that's important. Maybe one of these times have finance just give us a lesson, an open lesson to us on what that word unfunded liability really means, to better explain it to the constituents out there. And then, I can't say thanks enough to Larry Davis, $20-something million. That's awesome. And on that note, it would be, I don't know, interesting, or it worries me that the citizens that have been blessed with these extra truck companies and engine companies within their area don't realize where that money's coming from. And my fear is that, maybe we won't be able to continue to fund that engine because the grant money's going to go away. We don't have, unlimited resources. And I want to make sure, I know we the staff is worried about that as much as I am, and they're trying to find every way they can to make sure that those continue to be funded, but that's a lot of money. And I notice on the freeway when they, are doing projects, they say this funded by your tax measure A or whatever. I don't know, maybe it sounds a little dorky or a little goofy, but especially if we go to open up a whole nother station, and I said opening stations, I know I'm not trying to micromanage the district. If, you guys add a company wherever you put it, it doesn't have to be a station. You might decide to open up, put an engine where a truck is right now. But maybe they're somehow notifying the people in that area that money it's not just limitless money that we've just been squirreling, hiding and keeping away from them, and then decided to let it out, that this is federal money that we got on our grant because of our staff and because we're working hard, but that it's limited funds. It's a 2-year grant fund, and maybe let them know, okay, yeah, you have this engine company for 2 years, but don't think that everything's good. So, don't think that because we're billing you for ambulance services and the inspection fees that we're just, have all this extra money, we're adding companies and then billing you more. No, we really are scratching bottom. We're lucky to have those extra. Somehow just get that message out there, because I think that's important to do. But other than that, I can't say thanks enough again to the staff, Larry, and your staff. I mean, I know you're overworked. I think that needs to be looked into, because again, we talk about mentoring and succession planning. Larry's a young man. I know we could have him for many years, but you never know. We need to have somebody. I sure would like to see, and 20 years after Larry's finished his career here, 20 more years, that we can have somebody under his wings to take over, right? So that's something that we really, and I know, the chief, and I know he is cognizant of that, and he's working on that. But again, thank you, and that's all I had to say. Just those brief comments.
Thank you. Director Jones.
Testing. All right. Is this on? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Hey, ditto to all for all the kudos and successes that my fellow directors have mentioned, and I would like to mention one other attaboy, attagirl, is that I did receive a very nice thank you from the Rosemont community for Metro Fires providing the Santa truck in their community. And so thank you and everyone at SMFD for making this happen. And we would still be interested in hearing the crew's reaction to it and any suggestions you may have for future Santa visits. Signed by Terry Dugan, who's one of the vice presidents for the Rosemont Association. So thank you, Chief Iverson, for you and your group on that. Also looking forward next week with fellow director, with President Kelly, we'll be working on the Division 4 appointments with some of the county Board of Supervisors. And hopefully by the end of the next week, we'll have some resolution to our vacancy. And finally, I would request that we take a moment of silence and close the meeting in memory of retired Captain Gilroy Mashburn from Sacramento City Fire. He was laid to rest today, longtime member of the fire family here in our area. So I'd appreciate that.
Certainly. Director Orzali.
Several things. Well, Chief, I'd like to congratulate you on your appointment to that committee. That's a very nice and important position. I'd also like to, again, thank Jim Newcomer for his service. And I'd like to mention about Jim that leaving the board, he has agreed to come on board with the Sac Metro Public Safety Foundation. And I very much appreciate that and look forward to working with you. In that same venue, the chief mentioned our meeting at Rancho Murrieta. And so that everyone is aware, there is a follow-on meeting scheduled for the 15th of January to discuss that ongoing partnership. And those people have been so accommodating and so anxious to work with us. I look forward to meeting with them, and Larry Davis and I have been working on putting together a group to go out and further that, looking for a golf tournament sometime in the June-July time frame. So with that, thank you very much.
Director Scheidegger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to add Tonight, we accepted 2 grants, and again, just not enough can be said about the importance of this in these difficult revenue times. And I know it's not automatic, and I appreciate not only getting the grants, but the ongoing work that it takes. And we're lucky to have people that we have that are enable that. Secondly, the clean findings on the audit. First of all, the audit came in earlier this year. Secondly, we're clean. Third, and I think most importantly, the fantastic findings, which this community needs to understand, are a reflection on how well this fire department is run, don't just happen automatically. It started with the chief. It came with the addition of Rhonda, and it certainly is a very clear indication of the fine work of that staff sitting out there. And again, thank you all personally for the fine work you're doing and for enabling us to continue to provide the fine service that we do. It's highly, highly ascribable to you. And again, I too want to add congratulations to the chief on your appointment, your election to head that committee. It's a great reflection on this department. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Director Gould.
Thank you, Mr. President. Really quickly, I agree with all the comments my colleagues have made this evening. I want to particularly point out Captain Kevin Snyder and wish his family the best as he goes through a very difficult time with his family. And our thoughts and prayers are with you, Kevin, as you have countless times turned families' lives around with your expertise. In the coming days, it'll be our turn to do that for you. And so publicly, I want to say thank you, and our thoughts and prayers are with your family. Thank you, Mr. President.
Certainly. Again, it's all been said, but I would like to extend my congratulations to the retirees and the individuals that are being promoted. Director Newcomer, enough can't be said. I believe that the resolutions hit it perfectly. The Finance Department, thank you again for your hard work. It is something that this district can take pride in, the work that you do and the fine audit that we received. It is attributed to you sitting in the audience today. And then I want to remind, I'm not sure who's in charge of it, but like any high-performing piece of equipment, it's important to take care of it, change the oil, whatever you must do to keep it in good running order. But the Grants engine is certainly something that we want to make sure is running well and lasting at this district for a long time. Larry Davis, thank you. Aside from that, as Director Jones indicated, we will be meeting with the county, Nav Gill, Supervisor Natoli, and Supervisor Yee regarding the appointment of a director for District 4. And certainly we look forward to the working with the county and their cooperation and ensuring that a suitable individual is put into that position, ready to represent the community of Rancho Cordova to some extent. Partially Cordova Vineyard. Right. Okay, then. I see nothing further. And congratulations to you, Chief, on your appointment, yada, 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 yada. At this time, I would close the meeting of the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District. Thank you all for coming. Moment of silence.